All rise. Hearing, hearing, hearing. The United States District Court for the Eastern District of Wisconsin is now open. The Honorable Judge Fred H. Ludwig presiding. All persons having business before the Honorable Court are admonished to draw near and give their attention, for the Court is now in session. God save the United States and this Honorable Court. Please be seated.
There you go. I was about to say good morning, but good afternoon. Welcome to the courthouse. My name is Brett Ludwig. I am a United States District Court judge here in the Eastern District of Wisconsin, and I have the honor of presiding over today's ceremony. This is just the second time since COVID started that we've had a series of naturalization ceremonies here at the courthouse. And it's very nice to be doing these again. Welcome. It's appropriate that we are conducting this ceremony here today in the courthouse. It's a historic courthouse, and this is a special occasion. It's obviously a special occasion for all of you, but it's also an important and special occasion for our country. The United States is a nation of immigrants. I would not be here presiding today if my great-grandparents had not been immigrants. Over 150 years ago, they left their homes in Europe to take what was then a very, very long and difficult journey to come to a remote place called Wisconsin. I wouldn't have my wonderful wife and the mother of my children if her mother hadn't decided to immigrate to Milwaukee from Winnipeg, Canada, about 50 years ago. My mother-in-law turned 87 last month, and about 30 years ago, she participated in a ceremony just like this in this courthouse. So I can personally confirm that immigration and naturalization is an important thing. It's important to me for my family, but it's also important for our country. Through today's ceremony and the oath that you will soon be taking, each of you will become a part of this country, embracing it as your own, as millions of people have done in the past. Our group this morning includes 22 applicants from approximately 16 different countries. It's a tradition as part of this ceremony that I read off a list of all of the countries that are participating, and I'd ask you to do me a favor. When I read off the country from which you originate, please raise your hand and show everyone else here where you're from. And we'll do this quickly. So this afternoon, we have people here from Belarus, Bolivia, Burma, Canada, Chile, India, Iraq, Jordan, Laos, Mexico. Okay, Mexico is usually by far the number one answer, and this time you got beat out by I think a couple different countries. Mongolia, Nepal, Nicaragua, Norway, Pakistan, and Somalia. Thank you. And I say this every time I do this. I'm always amazed at the number of different countries that end up represented at our ceremonies here. This isn't New York. This isn't Chicago or Los Angeles. We're here in little Milwaukee, and we have all of these different nationalities represented. Each of you comes to this ceremony from a different part of the world, maybe speaking a different cultural background, maybe speaking a different language, and yet all of your paths have converged, come together here in Milwaukee at this courthouse. And in a few moments, after I administer the oath, your paths will continue together as United States citizens. By participating in today's ceremony, you are continuing what folks have long referred to as the Great American Melting Pot. The United States is a country of immigrants, as I said earlier. It's not a nation that was built on a single ethnic group or a single religion or a single culture. Instead, the United States is a mixture of many different cultures and many different peoples, backgrounds, beliefs. Through immigration and naturalization, all these different individuals come together and bring their different attributes to the whole. That process of blending together so many different cultures and backgrounds is one of the things that's made this country special. And today you are participating in that process and you're becoming part of that melting pot. As I said, I consider it an honor to preside over this ceremony today. I am a United States citizen by birth. That's the easy way. I get the benefit of citizenship not because of anything I did, but because of what my great-grandparents did 150 years ago. Like each of you, they were not handed United States citizenship just by being born. They made a decision to come here, and they took affirmative steps and made sacrifices for themselves and for their children and grandchildren like me. As you complete your journey today, I wanted to just briefly offer you a little bit about my own family history so you can think about it. My father's grandfather was named Henry Ludwig. He was born in a country called the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which doesn't exist anymore. He basically was born in a small village, which was German, but it's now in the middle of the Czech Republic. Shortly after he was born, his mother died. So his father and the rest of his siblings, 8 siblings, in March of 1882, traveled from their farm all the way across the ocean to a small town called Stetsonville in northern Wisconsin. And at that time, that wasn't a short, easy trip. There were no airplanes. They didn't have an iPhone that they could call and check with their friends and relatives that they left behind. They sold all of their possessions and traveled by foot, horse-drawn wagon, train, and boat all the way here. They started on their farm. They walked to catch a train. They took the train to Hamburg in Germany. They went from Hamburg by ship to Hull in England. Then they took a train from Hull to Liverpool, went all the way across England, got on another ship, came to Philadelphia, got off, took a train from Philadelphia to Chicago to Milwaukee, all the way up into northern Wisconsin to where the train tracks stopped, because the train was still being built. It didn't go any further than that. It was a small town called Colby. And then from there, they walked the last 20 miles basically out into the middle of the woods, where they had a plot of land they'd purchased for $2.50 an acre. My parents still live in that area, and I like to drive past that old land. There's still an old barn that's falling down on the land, but that's where my great-grandfather emigrated. On my mother's side, my mother's grandfather was Wolfgang Kopp. He was born in Bavaria, in Germany. He was trained as a carpenter and then was drafted into the army, in the Bavarian army. He received his discharge and decided he wanted a different life for his children and grandchildren. So at about the same time as my father's grandfather, he made a similar journey. His ship landed in New York. He then took a train from Chicago up through Milwaukee up to where the train tracks ended. And he purchased his own 80 acres of land in a little town further west called Curtis, Wisconsin. He started a dairy farm and raised a family on that land. That land remained in my family's ownership until about 5 years ago. And interestingly enough, 115 years ago, he took the same oath that you are about to take, and he received this, a certificate of citizenship in the United States. He took the oath on September 14th, 1906. I got this from my grandmother just before she passed away, and I keep it. It's very important to me. I like to bring it out for these ceremonies to show you, because soon you'll be getting one of these too. Both of my great-grandfathers arrived in America as immigrants. Neither of them spoke English. My grandpa Cup spoke only German at home until he learned English in school. They overcame many, many obstacles to come to this country. And I am only here presiding at today's ceremony because they did that. They underwent a number of sacrifices. They left everything that they knew to come here to have a better life for themselves and, more importantly, for their children. It's only because of that that I had the opportunity to go to college, to go to university, to go to law school, and ultimately to become a judge. I wouldn't have the life and the opportunities that I enjoy today, including the ability to preside over this ceremony, if they hadn't done that. On behalf of your children and your children's children, let me thank all of you for undertaking that effort to achieve U.S. citizenship like my great-grandfathers did. Perhaps one day you will have a child or a grandchild that will put on a robe like this and preside over a similar ceremony for other people. If you do, remember when you get the certificate, pass it on to your children. It's an important thing. Remembering your heritage is good. Remembering your culture is good. As I said, as a result of participating in today's ceremony, you are part of the Great American Melting Pot, like the rest of us. Let me encourage you to, as I said with respect to the certificate, pass these things on to your children and your grandchildren. Keep the memories and the culture from your past alive. It's important that they remember where their parents and grandparents came from. Teach those traditions. Share them. Share them with your neighbors. Share them with the other people here. Everyone benefits from that. At the same time, let me also encourage you to explore and learn about other cultures and traditions. That's also part of the melting pot. Learn from your neighbors. Learn from others. We are all better and stronger when we learn from one another, appreciate our differences and our similarities. That's what the American Melting Pot's all about. So thank you for indulging me in that little bit of a side diversion into my family history. I am now ready to entertain a motion related to today's events. Agent Moore?
Afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Thomas Moore, the designated officer of the U.S. Citizenship Immigration Services of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This afternoon, Your Honor, I have a motion to admit to United States citizenship of 22 applicants for naturalization here present in this courtroom, including 6 applicants for a motion to court for a legal name change. Each of the applicants is going to be done by an officer of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Each applicant has been found to be a person of good moral character who has resided in the United States for the period of time required by statute. Each has been found to be able to disclose the good order and happiness in the United States, and each is familiar with the history of the United States, the principles of the Constitution, and form of government of the United States. No objection to the admission has been found. Therefore, Your Honor, I respectfully move that each of the applicants here present be admitted to United States citizenship, and that the court grant the motion for name changes to the applicants who requested it upon taking the oath of allegiance as required by statute.
Motions are granted. So our next and final step is the oath of allegiance. Before I administer the oath to you, it's important, it's part of my job to make sure you understand what the oath is all about. There are two aspects of the oath. It's important that you appreciate and understand what it is you're undertaking. The first part of the oath involves you giving up and renouncing any allegiance you have to your former country. So you have to absolutely and entirely give up and renounce any allegiance or loyalty you have to any other state or country. You're basically giving that up. And then the other half of the oath is embracing the new. The oath then requires you to swear your willingness to support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States. Essentially, you're giving up your allegiance to your old country, embracing your new. Having heard this brief explanation, is there anyone here who is unwilling to make the commitment required to accept the oath of allegiance? If so, raise your hand and we will exclude you. No one's ever raised their hand anytime I've asked that question, so that's good. All right, please stand and raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I will try to take this slow in little bits. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen. That I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by law. That I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by law. That I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by law. And that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Congratulations. I'm happy to call you my fellow citizens. Congratulations again. It's been an honor to preside here today. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. Good luck. And my part of this proceeding is done. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Maybe we did. hand out your certificate of citizenship. We're gonna do this one by one. He'll call you one by one to come to the podium to receive your certificate. He's gonna need for you to hand him your appointment letter and the questionnaire, so if you have 2 pages or 1 page, please both pages. Both those pages for you. You hand those pages to him, and he'll hand you your certificate. Once you receive your certificate, you'll be free to go, so if you have all of your belongings, when you come up, you'll be free to go. And we'll start, I'm sorry, we'll start that, okay.